Guys, it's Nick the Booksmith. Welcome back, welcome back. I promised I would show you how I made the gold striping trim that I put on the miniature dictionary box. It's very simple, but I thought that I would show that to you in this video. A couple of ways that you can do this. I like to use most of the time either acrylic metallic paint or some kind of a metal spray paint. The reason why the spray paint is great, other than the fact it's like instant gratification, the spray paint seems that it would be a little bit longer lasting and longer wearing than just regular metallic acrylic paint. But that being said, you could also put a sealer on it as well. So you could do a Mod Podge or some kind of a, even though matte medium's not technically a sealer, you can use some kind of a matte medium, something clear that will seal it in. You could even put a coat of clear spray paint over the top of either one of these to add an extra layer of durability. So what I like to do is I find a thin, very thin paper. And usually I go with something like this. It's an uncoated gift tissue paper is basically what it is. This is a very, very old paper that I got at a thrift store. It's a little thicker than like the gift tissue that you would get in the package for just a couple of bucks. Maybe a little thicker, but I wouldn't go too thick. Another option would be like an uncoated deli paper. Some of this masking paper that painters use. This is a little thick, but it's not as thick as a piece of copy paper or anything. It's still fairly thin. I've used both of these and they work just great. So I'm just gonna cut off a piece of this. These scissors are really dull. And I don't need that much. I just need one piece. And then what I do is I take some double-sided tape, and that comes in all kinds of widths that you can play around with, but I'm going to be slicing it down. I'm just going to go ahead and use the 1 inch because that's what I have most of at the moment. And I'm going to put a stretch of it along the paper. I'll do 2. You can do as many as you like. So if you have spray paint, you want to use spray paint, and let's say you want to make gold and you want to make silver and you want to make copper, but you have spray paint, then I would suggest just having a piece of paper for each color. But if you're going to be painting it on, you'll have more control and no overspray, so you'll be able to do whatever you want. The reason why I usually choose the spray paint over the acrylic for a second reason is because it doesn't cockle the paper like acrylic paint will, because acrylic paint has a lot of water in it. So the spray paints won't saturate your paper with water and then cockle it. It shouldn't as badly. At least it has not in my experience as of yet. So here is a box. I'm going to take my paper. This is the back side where I taped it to. This is the paper backing of the tape. But I'm going to turn it onto this side, of course. And I'm going to lay it down in there. And if you can go outside, please go outside. It's just really windy out right now, so I just didn't think that was a very good idea. So if you have to do it inside, do it away from kids and pets and put on a dust mask and be safe about it. You know, you're all adults. I don't have to tell you. I'm going to grab a little piece of masking tape just to hold it down so it doesn't blow all over the place. And with spray paint, you really have to shake it good because the metallic particles in it are very heavy and they always sink to the bottom. So you have to take it like a Polaroid picture every time you use it. Even if you set it down and you're gonna immediately be spraying another piece of paper in a minute, I would still shake it again. That is some shine, and I did not inhale. Me and Bill Clinton. That's a Gen X joke for you. So as you can see, just a little shot of spray paint, it's once and done. And you don't have to do much else at all to it. Let me grab my good scissors. And as you can see, this one didn't actually wrinkle, like hardly at all. Of course, I cut out the one that did, but it doesn't matter. You can take a brayer, give it a good roll to make sure that the tape is stuck down to the back of that paper. And you can leave it like this and store it just like this. That's what's great about this. But you can also go ahead and cut it into strips if you'd like, which I usually do. I have been cutting them into, I'm going to say 1/8 strips, 1/8 of an inch, which is 3 millimeters. Is that correct? My metric people. We all did metric. It'd be so much easier. Why can't we all just get along? But you can cut them out as thinly or as thickly as you like. You can even use a, honest to goodness, paper trimmer and not rely on your eye to guide you. And there is a strip of gold trim that can now be placed on all kinds of things. And I usually just cut them into the strips that I'm going to want to use and then store them like this. Just makes it a little easier on me later on. You can also do silver. This little book that I made is just a little notebook. It is a leather spine and corner with hand marbled paper on the covers. I put gold trim, this gold trim, on the corners to accentuate those corners. And I thought it would look great to put more gold trim on this side along this edge as well. So I just cut it the same width, and if you're going to be putting it on something important, you can always make yourself a guideline, which is, it's never a bad thing. So I have a little bit of a guideline I can follow now. Not that I can really see it in this light very well, but that's okay. We'll figure this out. Now the tricky part is getting that double-sided backing off, that tape backing. Got it loosened from one edge. I'm just going to cut it just a little longer because it doesn't need to go over very much. I should have done this before I inserted the text block, but you know, hindsight. And we're just going to peel it off and try to not let it curl up on itself. Just like that. Fold it over. There. I think that looks really pretty. Gives it a little extra element of interest. I think it looks kind of cool. And I will do another one on the back side, but I'll do that later, so you don't have to watch me. I will show you the other way. Even, I'll turn it this way. I don't need that much. Even gift tissue will work. Just put a stretch of the double-sided tape like that. Now you're going to peel it off and have a sticky spot. And now you take your foil flake and you make a horrendous mess. A huge, horrendous mess. That's what you do. This is a mixture of metals on this one. It is a conglomeration of foil. I'm just going to pat all that down on there. Sure that I don't have any sticky residue from that tape. dump the rest back in the bag. It lasts forever. You could never get it off the floor or out of your house either, so don't even try. You have to just submit to the foil flake. Just pat that in there. Take just a brush and make some circles and just kind of get the excess off. It's everywhere. Usually at this point I just get the vacuum cleaner and just say, forget it. I'm not chasing foil flake for the sake of chasing foil flake, because I will literally never run out of this. It just won't happen. And after you get the flake all kind of tapped down on there to where you can't feel any more sticky, gently rub the excess off with your finger. If you try to rub too hard or use a bone folder or something like that, the sticky from the tape will come through and the top will become sticky. I don't know why that happens. I don't know. At this point, there are a couple things that I do suggest, and that is giving this just a mist of a clear acrylic sealer. And it can just be like a semi-gloss clear spray paint or something. I'll grab the box again. Just a light. Now it's got a little bit of protection. But look how pretty that is. Isn't that pretty? I don't know if the camera even really picks it up that well. It's really pretty though. But you can use all kinds of foil, gold foils or gold flakes. And then I turn it over, and in order to make it sticky again, I just put a layer of the tape directly on the back where I had it. And now it is ready to be sliced into strips as well and used on whatever you would like. And there you are. You have foil tape, which is lovely. It's just beautiful. So this is as you can see, it's a pilot logbook. And let's say we wanted a stripe of this along the edge. And I'm just going to cut a little strip off. And look how nice that looks. Doesn't it look great? I did a stripe of silver on this side. And this is what I did with this thin tissue and this looking glass silver spray paint. And it goes on kind of it looks like it's gray almost. And you're like, oh, something's wrong with my spray paint. But then once it dries, then it's shiny, but it's kind of like a hammered silver. So it's not like a pure shiny. You know how galvanized tin looks like it's got different flakes of different shades of the silver in it from dark to light? Anyway, that's what it looks like. But I think it adds a nice little element to a book or greeting card, some artwork, whatever it is that you are working on. This is just maybe a little bit, I wouldn't say it's easier than taping something off and painting directly on it. But sometimes you don't want to do that because one, the tape will seep and bleed underneath painter's tape or whatever, or you're worried about the painter's tape peeling something up and off your book, your artwork, your greeting card, etc. So if you can make the trim separately and store it and have it ready to rock and roll at whatever lengths that you want it to add these elements to your projects later, you won't have to stop and try to paint something on per se, but you could make a whole bunch of this in a whole bunch of different colors and have it ready. You could even leave it in the wider widths and then trim it down as needed, because Maybe you want something that's a little wider than 1/8 of an inch on something else. So this is just kind of one of my tricks that I use to make things a little bit easier on me as far as what I'm concerned. I'm always afraid I'm gonna just mess up a project if it's already like to the point of completion and all I wanted to do was add a little bit of extra shine or something to it, and then you mess up because you get paint all over it. You know, it's just not fun. But I can think of all kinds of applications for this. You could even run these through die cut machines, I'm assuming, and die cut shapes or letters to spell a title or to a greeting on a card. I'm trying to think if I would put this in my Cricut or not. I would be afraid the adhesive would gum up underneath the Cricut knife. What do you guys think? I haven't tried that. I've thought about it, but I haven't tried it. I didn't want to mess up a blade. They're very expensive, aren't they? Like, wow. It's like really, really pricey for those little things. Because now I'm thinking this one needs a little tiny stripe going across this way to like intersect over to kind, you know, like a gift wrap, how it intersects over on like on one corner. I might have to do that. This is this logbook is a friend of mine. It was her father-in-law's, and he's still around. He just didn't want the logbook anymore. It has a couple of entries in the front, but then most of it's blank. But she thought I would like it to play with it and mess around with it, and I said yes, I would. Don't throw that away. You can do all kinds of colors. You don't have to do gold or any kind of metallic at all. You could do black or red or whatever. Doesn't matter. The world is your veritable oyster, my friends. My friends. So I hope you enjoyed this little technique. A few little tricks to get gold pinstriping on your projects. If there's anything that's not already on my Amazon list, I will put it down there. I know the double-sided tape is on the list. I'll see if they still have the foil. If it is, I'll link it so that you guys can look at that too. And also the spray paint, the metallic spray paints, but you can probably find those at your local home improvement store, or you can get some of the acrylic paints. But like I said, it will cockle the paper just a little bit, so just be aware. Don't get mad at me because the paper might wrinkle a little bit. You should be able to smooth it down once the backing is peeled off. It should smooth down pretty well as long as the paper that you use to put the tape on isn't very thick. If it's very thick, then you might not be able to get the wrinkles out as easily. Sound good? All right, guys, go add some bling to everything. Go make strips of gold and add them to your children. Big, huge hugs from me to you guys, and I hope everybody is doing great on this Monday. And I will see you really, really soon in the next video. Bye, guys.